Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Okay. Any questions, clarifications on the first 23rd verses, 23 verses that we have done?
So,
Yeah,
Swamiji, I do have a couple of questions.
shoot.
The first, and this is actually towards the end of the last class, Rishikesh had asked you a few questions, so this is in relation to that. So, one question was related to karma phala. You had mentioned that as long as your karma phala gives you a relatively comfortable life, it helps you pursue this knowledge.
Yeah.
At the same time, in other places, Swamiji, they glorify like a Daridra Brahmana and say, they are the most qualified for this knowledge. I'm just curious how to reconcile this.
Okay. See, the idea of Brahmana as Daridra is an old idea, because your pursuit is intellectual. Even now, relatively speaking, you're working in a corporate, you're working in academics. You are getting 25-30% of what you would get in a corporate, isn't it? In academics. It's always that way. So the idea was, in the same manner, in the world, the Brahmana was poor. Not today's Brahmana. I know priest in Chankaramata has got 2-3 flats in Bombay. To imagine being able to make 3 flats in Bombay with a priest's income. How much they should be making and how much they are charging then, overcharging. That's not the idea. Idea was, in olden days, you lived a life of commitment, knowledge, devotion. Okay. So, such a person committed to the Shastra, even though the commitment was more to the first section, they had enough awareness of the second section to eventually come to it. So, in that context, Puja Swamiji said that Daridra Brahmana, they are qualified to come. Then, what I was saying was in terms of today's life. In today, if you have to struggle to live a life in wherever it is in the world today, requires a certain amount of money. Just to be able to live, forget living very comfortably or luxuriously. Even a middle class life takes a lot of earning. So if you don't have that, then life is a big struggle. And if life is a big struggle, nobody is going to look for this. Because where is the exposure to all this? There is not sufficient exposure to be able to come for something like that. To even understand that there is something called moksha, there is shastra, etc. That is not there. So, in today's life, in the urban areas at least, you need to have a little comfort to be able to come here. Village life is slightly different because even though money may not be much, life can be comfortable. Ready money may not be much, but life can be fairly comfortable. Plus, in village life, even smaller cities, there's always some katha going on, someone is coming and talking. Therefore, there is exposure. There is exposure. So, even if people are not very comfortably off, they'll go for it, Because a life, even some villages even today, but if you take 50, 100 years back, the temple was a culture center. Temple was not just a place of devotion. It was the center for culture. That's why every temple had a sabhagraha, or a small hall where either a performance or a talk or something could happen. Even now in Chembur, at our RNA temple there, where I stay, there is a temple, and there is a small hall where in the local language, either Marathi or Hindi, some program is going on. So the poorer people get that. Okay? Enough exposure to come to it. Yeah. Because comfort is a relative term. Okay? One person may say, I need a 3-bedroom house to be comfortable. Another person say, kholi mil gaya to bas ho gaya. It's a relative term. You can feel lonely in one room or you can feel lonely in a 5-bedroom apartment also. Both can happen. Yeah. The question is, do you feel there is a certain balance in your life? And then you can come to Vedanta. Yeah. It is not that those who are not well off will not come to Vedanta. They will come. Yeah. If they find what they have is enough to make a living, okay, I'm comfortable, then they will come. Because as I said, comfort is relative. Yeah. Like, there is a couple outside the temple, on Saturdays, Mondays, etc. They will send some flowers, some oil. Saturday, especially today, offer it to Shani, some oil, etc. So I asked them, how's your life, how's everything okay? Bhagwan ke kripa se sab kuch hai. This chawl got redeveloped, so they got tiny houses. 350 square feet only. Can you imagine living in a 350 square feet house? Two of them, couple. Son was also staying with them. Then son got married and shifted out. Says, Bhagwan ka kripa se sab kuch hai. So when the katha is there, they will go and listen to it. Because there is enough in there, sense of gratitude is there. All of us, if we have to live in a 350 square feet house, we will be saying the typical Bombay prayer. What is the typical Bombay prayer? Tata ne apyo, Birla ne apyo, Mane nati apyo. God, you gave it to Tata, you gave it to Birla, you not given me anything. So, it's a relative. What do you find? Everyone says comfort is enough. Even Kabir said that. Sai itna dijiye, jisse sukh safai. Lord, give me enough so that I'll be comfortable. Then he defines what is comfortable. Hum to bhukha na rahe, sadhu bhi bhukha na jaye. I will not remain hungry. The good man that comes to my door, he will also not go hungry. There was 1 or 2 people who had come to the camp. Now our ashrams are pretty comfortable places. Middle class comfort is there. But for these people, they are used to so much of luxury in their life that there was roughing it out. Really, there is rough because they are used to very, very high lifestyle. We have people who will be going for dinner with Ambanis or something like that. That type of lifestyle. There were a couple of people like that in the camp. But they wanted to keep a low profile and I allowed them to keep a low profile. And for them, camp is roughing it out. How can you stay in a non-AC room like They don't have to get up for a glass of water. Ramu, pani leke aana. Here you are taking your own food and washing your own plate. It was really roughing it out. But they went through it very, very nicely, very beautifully. No grubbing, nothing. So it's relative, the whole thing. Yeah. Thing is, you must feel comfortable enough to say, I'm okay, I can come for this. That's it.
Swamiji, thank you for that. I had a second question also.
Yeah, what is that?
You mentioned again to Rishikesh that when we come to Vedanta initially, we say that I am independent of the body-mind, but the body-mind and my roles are dependent on me.
Yeah.
Will I be able to understand that without understanding Satyam Mithya?
No. In fact, that is Satyam Mithya. That is the understanding of Satyam Mithya being brought into the body, mind, etc.
Got it, okay.
Yeah. Because to say I am not the body is a little bit easier. But to say the body and mind are dependent on me, I am independent, that's a little bit more understanding it takes. Yeah. And the most difficult thing for that understanding is my comfort orientation. I give in to the demands of body and mind very often. Too much. Yeah, Vijayalakshmi.
Swamiji, can you elaborate on that? I'm not very clear exactly
The
what.
dependence, we always want more and more comfort. Na? What we are used to, if that shifts, we are uncomfortable and we are not happy. We find it difficult. Whether it is physical or emotional. I am used to people giving me attention and here I am ignored. What will I do then? Somehow seek some attention. Na? Why? Because I am giving into that mind. My mind is comfortable with that attention I get. If I don't get that attention, I am not comfortable. So how do you get that attention? That's classical attention seeking behavior. It is there in children, it is there in adults also as well. Similarly, physically, 5 degrees temperature change, my God, so hot. Or so cold. Yeah, it's cold. Bombay in April, what do you expect? It'll get hotter than what it is today. I mean, natural. But we crib about it. Sitting in an AC room, we'll crib about it. That is the thing. Sitting in an AC room, we'll crib about it. That's what I call comfort orientation. That mind cannot handle lack of titiksha. So if I say lack of titiksha, right in the beginning, titiksha. Okay. People assume they know it. Emotional discomfort. Something happens that I am not happy with. It's okay, let it be. You can't. Because emotionally you are disturbed. An idea is challenged. You are uncomfortable. You feel you are challenged. It's only an idea. Someone comes and tells me you are an idiot. Can you say, well, you are welcome to that opinion and leave it at that? Or do you have to defend yourself? If I am going to defend myself against everyone who thought I was an idiot, Narayana, I have nothing else, no other time for anything else in my life. Missing things that I was used to, that may be very comfortable. Power, pelf, attention, comfort. Like look at people after retirement, what happens? They're still holding on to the past. Now some things are good if you hold on to, like the discipline, etc. Like there were 2 colonels retired from the army in the camp. So some of their habits very good. When they set their ramrod straight, their this thing, health, all that fine. Yeah. In fact, one of the participants were saying, I'm sitting on the opposite sides of them. Every time I see them, I straighten myself up. Because I tend to slouch. And they are all sitting straight like that. Good habits. But they never introduce themselves as Colonel so and so. They always introduce themselves by their names only. They are not holding on to that identity. They dropped it. They're retired now, no? Then because they knew I had some background in the Navy, they said, oh, we were in this. So now we had a discussion where they were from and all that. So it's always what you're holding on to, which prevents you from seeing that you are independent of them. And that is dependent on you, you don't see. Because you are dependent on all of that. Your whole identity, in short. So not to take yourself too seriously. Important. Any other questions? Sure, because I want you all to be clear about this. Doesn't matter how far we go or how less we go. Clarity is important. Clear all this is? Okay. Then, all this teaching, he is summing up in one verse. Many of you are familiar with this verse. Okay? It says, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmeva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhinaha. Brahma Karma Samadhinaha. I mean, this verse you are used to in the sense, especially if you had the cross belting, Yajnopavitam, etc. You'll do that now before eating. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Brahma, and then it's a bit, and then take pranaya swaha, 5 grains of rice, and then roll up your sleeve and have the proper meal. It's actually, you're supposed to have only 5 fistfuls of food. Okay? 6 fistfuls. For all your pancha prana and brahmane swaha. That's it. Then you'll never have a problem of putting on weight, etc. Yeah. That is how it was. But anyway. Any questions, anyone? Somebody is half raising a hand, hesitant looks. No, okay. So, what is it? For those who are Brahma Karma Samadhinaha, Brahmeva Karma, the object, where the mind is Samadhi, Samadhiyate Mana. Samadhiyate Mana doesn't mean you're going into Samadhi. This Samadhi characters now made a big mess of the whole thing. Your mind is resolved in Brahman. Meaning, this knowledge of Brahman is completely filling your mind. For those people, okay, what happens? Brahmarpanam. Brahman is the offering. This is talked in terms of Vedic karma. What is offering into the Havan? Brahman itself is being offered. Hey, you are offering Havis, etc. No, Brahman is offering. Brahmarpanam. Brahma Havihi. The Havis that is offered is also Brahman only. Okay. What is the fire? Brahman. Brahma Agno. In the fire there is Brahman. Brahmana Hutam. Who is doing the offering? Who is doing the offering? Brahman is doing the offering. I am doing the offering means what? Brahman is doing the offering. Okay. Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam. What is the karma phalam there? Brahmaneva. In other words, what? Sarvam Brahmamayam Jagat. Isavasyam idam sarvam. All there is nothing but Brahman. That's the idea. Whatever you do, whatever you are offering, whatever you are receiving, wherever you are going, all there is what? In Brahman alone. Brahma Karma Samadhinaha. For those people. So very interesting. That is taken and kept as a sloka to remember when you are eating.
Actually, my question,
Huh?
I had a question
Yeah.
exactly related on this particular aspect. So, can I raise it now?
Yeah, please.
So, as Omkarananda Swamiji says, so we have 2 eyes. One is a reflected self, that is the
Yeah.
Jivatma,
Yeah.
and there is a Paramatma.
Hmm.
What is prevalent is pure consciousness, but what we identify ourselves with the body, mind and other thing is sort of a reflected consciousness. This is how he distinguishes. So when we keep thinking that the pure consciousness is Sanatana, it is complete, it pervades all times.
That is the mistake you are making. To take reflected consciousness and the permanent consciousness as 2 entities.
No.
Yeah. Then what is the question?
The question is, that mistake is there, that is correct. But we are not able to get away with that second distinction, which is the temporary, that is the Jivatma aspect.
See, that is exactly what I am saying. You're finding it difficult. The question is, you're finding it difficult to move from the Jivatma to the Paramatma.
Yes.
Why? Because you're taking them as two entities. You created a duality much more than what is there. As it is, there is a duality. I am the body, mind, etc. Correct? In fact, there is no duality. I am body, mind. Then you're told there is an Atma you have to know. So now Atma. What is it? That is Paramatma, this is Jivatma. You have to identify from the Jivatma and how much duality have you created? अभी दो हो गया ना. I am Jivatma, but I have to resolve myself into the Paramatma. How to go about it? There is only one Atma. There is no Jivatma and Paramatma. Paramatma is what is. Jivatma is your misunderstanding. So it's only a question of misunderstanding. But we create it as a separate entity. It's only conceptual. Jivatma is purely conceptual. We take it as reality. Are you all getting this idea? You're creating a reality there. And then, of course, now how to resolve the thing. See, it is something like this, Before you went to the teacher, you had no doubt. May I say you? I am like this only. Correct? Before going to the teacher, you had no doubt. What you see is what you get here. This is me. In fact, I didn't bother too much about it. Most of our identity is a product of our living. Isn't it? Most of us are Hindus. Why? Because we are brought up in a Hindu household. If you are brought up in a Christian household, probably most of you would be comfortable with their Christian. Or Muslim also. Very few of us has sat down to question why we are Hindu. We are Hindus in name only. We don't know what it means to be a Hindu. If someone says, define yourself, what is Hindu? Many of us will not be able to say anything. Why? Not thought. Okay. Hindu identity just came like that. In fact, because of our secular education, we are a little ashamed of Hindu identity. You ask a Muslim, I am Muslim. I believe in the Prophet and the Quran, everything. Christian, I go to the church regularly. No issues. Hindu? No, actually I am more spiritual than religious. I don't believe in the rituals. Of course, I believe in a higher power. 93 octane fuel. Typical Hindu answer, I am telling you. Unthought of. Socha nahi hai. Then you are brought up in a certain way, so that became your cultural cultural identity. Yeah. Without thinking or questioning. Without thinking or questioning, the cultural identity is taken on. Because that's how you are brought up. Did you really question it? Vegetarian, non-vegetarian, again same. Just because cultural identity. Did you think why either way? No. Without thinking cultural identity. Then your job gave you certain sense of identity. To many of us, jobs gave us identity. Then professions, marriage, and in some places you are known as Pappu's father, or Pappu's mom. You are not known. Acha, you're Pappu's mom. Okay. School children is always like that. Your school teacher, it doesn't give you any, doesn't bother about your identity beyond that you are the kid's father or mother. That's all. Don't worry, you are in good place. There is one place where world-renowned Rama was known as apna Sita ka pati, na. होता है. Rama could suffer, we can also suffer like that. No problem. Yeah. So this is all the identities we had. Without thinking, this is me. Then you come to Vedanta. Because after all, I must know something. Good, that you made a beginning is very good. But in the beginning, you don't always understand because you are not sure what is your identity, what is not your identity, all that you are not thought out. Therefore, you have to know the Atma, this, that is Paramatma, limitlessness, consciousness, etc. You will create a dichotomy in your mind. Oh, all this is called Jivatma, and I have to know the Paramatma. I have to dissociate myself from the Jivatma and associate with the Paramatma. Paramatma is fact, Jivatma is what you have built around it. All your notions. So Jivatma is only notional. There is no dissociation. Except calling that bluff. Except calling the bluff, there is nothing. Okay. Then you turn around and say, the Jivatma is nothing but consciousness. Brahma eva arpanam. Why? It's a manifestation, it's a mithya, it's a concept. The concept has to be based on reality. The concept has to be based on reality. So what is there is nothing but reality. The snake that you see, listen, the snake that you see is nothing but the rope.
But there is this word used as Jivashwarya Aikyam.
What do you mean by Jiveshwara Aikyam? There are two, there is Aikyam. I am saying there is one and you are talking about Aikyam.
But it is given in the Upanishads and other places.
That's what happens. When I don't understand, that's what happens. The teacher is forced to use the word Aikyam because in your mind there is dichotomy. Because Jiva and Ishvara is one. What does Aikyam mean? Not becoming one. There is no becoming there. Becoming is samsara. There is no becoming. Jiva and Ishvara is one. Aikyam means one. Jiveshwara Aikyam they talk about, meaning there is only one. There is no two. It's not that you have to create an Aikyam. You have to recognize the obtaining identity. I have said these things in my class. The obtaining identity between Jiva and Ishvara you have to recognize. Jiva is only conceptual. It's only conceptual. That means you are living your life in a concept, aren't you? Isn't everything that you do based on certain concepts? Tell me one thing you do which is not based on a concept. I am like this, therefore I have to do this. That I am like this is a concept. Oh, I need a proper house to stay in. Why? Security, comfort. Why? Without that I am not secure. Concept. How many of you have the habit of night locking up all your doors? Checking, double checking, every door is closed and bolted in from inside. Correct or not? Why? Because without that I am insecure. Have you ever thought if there's a gas leak and a fire in your kitchen, what will happen with so many bolts and nuts? God forbid it doesn't happen. But I'm just raising the issue. Little extreme to show you how it's purely conceptual, your function. Yeah. Because you feel insecure without that. Even daytime, no, everything is locked up and kept. Have you gone and seen how they live in the chawls? Chawls are disappearing in Bombay. Chawls are disappearing in Bombay. But if you look at it, there will be one long corridor at the entrance. And every block opens up into the car. Nobody closes their door. They just have a screen at the door for some illusion of privacy. Okay? And inside there will be one room and behind there will be one kitchen and a small washing area. That's how the chawl is. And sometimes they'll create a mezzanine thing because height used to be more. Nobody closes the door. Many of them, even at night, they don't close it. Bathroom toilet is common outside. They don't even close it. क्या सब अपना ही हाथ में को क्यों लेके जाएगा? They have a greater sense of security than you have. You have to barricade everything every day. Why? Are you keeping all your gold and ornaments and everything in your room, or is it in the bank locker? I can understand. You have to go for a wedding tomorrow, so you got everything, and therefore you're closing the door. That is reasonable. But everything is in the locker anyway. But you have to barricade your room. I'm not saying closing the door, automatic night latch is there. I'm not talking of that. I'm talking of more than that. Why? Have you thought it's connected with your sense of insecurity? Or just a habit because your father did like that, you're also doing the same? I can understand if a girl is staying alone and she does that. Because there is needed a bit of added security. I can understand that. Though Bombay is one of the safest cities for girls, but still there have been cases of problems. So, can you see everything that you do, how it is driven by purely concept? The food you eat. How many South Indians here feel that your meal is not complete unless you have taken some curds, if not curd rice? Why? Meal is not complete over. I have known people, friends of mine. We went for a Marwari wedding and came back. And when we came back to the place, we were saying that person was offering curds to people. Marwari wedding, you've eaten so much you can't put anything inside. Why? It's a cultural construct. You're conditioned by it. You think that's the way to be. Unthinking, purely. And the South Indian, North Indian meets, okay? Delhi guy, okay? He comes to Bombay, Delhi, from Delhi. Winter time. Okay. This South Indian guy, he can't think of sleeping at 7 or beyond 7, can he? How many of us South Indians were woken up even on a Sunday before 7? And this Delhi guy says, "Arey, winter we sleep up to 9 o'clock on a Sunday." Razai ke niche kya maza aa raha hai? How can you sleep? To each his own. There is a time and place for everything. What tamasic culture that is. You will make judgment also on it. You have not thought why it became your culture. But you will sit in judgment on another culture. You have not understood why in your own culture. Everything you do is based on concepts. And the concepts, most of the 70-80% of them have been unconsciously picked up. Samji, you are such a sadhu. How come you like chocolate so much? Arey, I was a sailor, Baba. I picked up the taste for chocolates then. Simple as that. I mean, you understand where it happened, na? And you taste, you love jalebi and all this rustic sweets, not sophisticated sweets like rasgulla or something. Why? Bandara खा के यार ऋषिकेश में बैठ के भंडारा खाया तो this habit develop like that. Understand how this concept form. For anyone this will form, wise person or otherwise will form. But you're making your concept real and saying, "Arey yaar, this is habit ka hai sir." Shall I tell you a secret? 8 days of camp, we had 8 bandaras. I never felt I ate a bandara. Those who came for the camp, like Jagdishan was there, okay. Vijay Lakshmi was there. Proper bandara khaya na jagah. Never felt. Why? The puris are not there. Those special bandara sabji was not there. Oh, jalebi laddu kuch nahi tha. Ye kya bandara hai? Healthy sweet, thoda kheer made with jaggery, no fried things. Bandara ye kya hai? Can you see? Purely conceptual, cultural construct. Because every day there is a bandara, they decided to make it healthy. Correct? A right decision. Sakshi is thinking, is not mechanically going by that. Because every day people eat puris and things like that, gadbad ho jayega. Correct? Everything we do is purely conceptual, and that is taken as reality. It's purely here, nothing else, nowhere else. The whole thing is here.
So,
Yeah.
when you take it as a reality, but when you know
Hmm.
that it is all conceptual and it is not to be taken as a reality, so then at that point of time, you stop giving importance to virtually everything.
No, you can do everything. Look at it. Like I know how these two tastes in me have come. I can still enjoy chocolate. I can still enjoy jalebi. I can do without both.
That's
What
right.
difference does it
So
make?
you stop giving importance to.
You don't think no bandara without puris. You don't think like that. I think bandara is what? A good meal for the sadhus or kya? With some dakshina, important. Why? Because they live on that. All their soap and oil and toothbrush and all come from that dakshina they are getting. Sadhu life is very different life. I have lived it. So, big deal. You're fine with everything. You can continue with your cursing. If you still want to eat curd rice every day, please do. Not a problem. But don't be conditioned by that idea that that alone is food. रोटी नहीं खाएंगे तो मर जाएगा नॉर्थ इंडियन में अरे चावल खा के जिएगा क्या रोटी नहीं है पराठा नहीं है तो फिर ब्रेकफास्ट कैसा है what type of nashta is this paratha in the morning yeah I have students who will every day breakfast is paratha and they are fine they are enjoying their health okay oats खाता है ब्रेकफास्ट में ओनली ओट्स पेट कैसे भरेगा Are you getting the idea? From food onwards. Now, why is this verse particularly put at eating? Brahmarpanam, Brahmavi, etc. Because that is one of our biggest conditionings. Everyone is a foodie at heart. Speaker included. We are disciplined in our eating, that's a different thing. We are disciplined, we eat healthy, all that is a different thing. Look at your home now. Isn't food? Don't you all enjoy good food? Every one of us here. For years I lived on dal roti in Rishikesh. So kya? Dal roti kha lega. That's a different thing because you decondition your mind. Okay, dal roti is fine. And for a change, roti dal. Okay. Fine. 3 months of COVID. Morning, evening, every day khichdi. Why? Who wants to spend time in the kitchen yaar? और कुछ काम धंधा नहीं है क्या? Rice, dal, vegetables, everything in one pot and cook it. हो गया काम. How can you live like that for 3 months? Huh? Why not? But the guy who can do that, does he not enjoy good food? अरे सिंधी कैंप में जाके अमृतसरी कुलचा और छोले खाया है बर्थडे के लिए खाया था अरे बहुत मजा आया you everyone is whatever they think is enjoyment or a nice pasta. Wow, that's great. Swamiji, but they put garlic in pasta. So, it's all tamasic food. Reva de. From where did the idea of tamasic come? Where did we get that idea? Unexamined, some cultural condition. Speak to your Ayurvedic doctors. Go to my Vedic Wisdom Festival website. Listen to Parthasarthi, a traditional South Indian Ayurvedic doctor. What he talks about onion and garlic, and then come and tell me whether it's Sattvic, Rajasic or something. He classifies it as Sattvic, Ayurvedic. No, it's Tamasic. Who told you that? What is your pramana? What is your authority to classify it as Tamasic? Tell me that. South Indians will do that, no? Onion garlic is Tamasic. Tell me what is your authority for it? What is your pramana? Where is it written as Tamasic? Gita mein likha hai. Gita mein nahi likha hai. We'll see the whole Gita, not written.
But there is one part in this, is that because of the false smell that comes
Because of the
false smell.
Where is the foul smell?
In garlic with a strong smell.
It's a strong smell. Don't say foul smell. Foul smell is a judgment that it is foul. Somebody will say it's wonderful smell. Can you see where the cultural conditioning is coming in? I want you to recognize that. That's why I gave that example. It's a strong smell.
So what happens is many people don't even offer it as a prasad to the god.
Who said that?
Anything which is made out of the body
Who said it is not offered?
At least in South.
Yes, in certain cultures it is not offered. In South, all the tantric pujas they offer. See, you're going very narrow blinkers on approach to life, and that's what I'm trying to open up here. But ulli sambar is great, no? Onion sambar. Come on. I know the South Indian weakness very well. I come from that background. No? Dr. Parthasarthi is an authority on Ayurveda. Okay, excellent doctor, great treatment, internationally known, scholar in traditional sense. His son is also studying in a Gurukula. He is committed to the whole thing. He presents it as Sattvic. Only he says is there is an aphrodisiac element coming into it. Therefore, people who are going to live a life of brahmacharya, etc., will not take it because they want some additional help. People like me whose minds are free, it doesn't matter. So, you see where all the conditioning, and with this conditioned mind, you try to understand Brahman, unconditioned limitlessness. Ravade. Won't work. These conditions that we loosened first. You can still follow it. It says, I don't want to eat garlic, it's fine. That's not a problem. Because culturally I'm not used to it, I don't want to eat it. That's perfectly okay, I'll respect that. But to be judgmental about it, that's not the right thing to do. Samji, Ayurvedic treatment is Sattvic, no? About 10%, 15% of the Ayurvedic medications have meat and things like that in it. Agastya Rasayana, take it, go look into it, you will find it. On the label itself they mention it. Leprosy treatment is based on python fat. Ayurvedic, yeah. Because, hey, that's medicinal. That's medicinal. It's perfectly fine. Yeah. So, wrong notions, wrong conditions. Read the Valmiki Ramayana, you have the first volume, na? How Rama ate meat in the forest. Oh, that is because he was a Kshatriya, is allowed to. What about the rishis eating? Vatapi Ganapati and Agastya? I will shake up any culture, Indian or Western, because I have enough material in it. Because why I have examined it. And why am I saying all this? Not to shake up somebody. I want you all to understand where the conditionings are. You can prefer to follow what you like, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Puja Swami Dayananji, from Manjakudi, heart of Tamil Nadu, Orthodox Brahmin culture, brought up in that. He doesn't like onion and garlic because he is brought up culturally like that. But those days, especially after a course is over in the ashram, in between there's some time and he is relaxed in that, we would go for a drive to Kapoli, old road, not expressway had not come that time. The Pune expressway has not come that time. We used to go with the old road, Kalyan road, to Kapoli, eat batata vadas and come. Swami used to enjoy the batata vadas. Have you ever heard of Kapoli batata vada without garlic? Hardcore Tambran from the heart of Tamil Nadu. He was unconditioned. Not a problem. Yeah, normal food, no onion garlic. Because that's what he's used to. That's what he's used to. I have a great priest, a tantric priest in Cochin. Every January he'll conduct a puja where there is one homa for Shani, one homa for Ayyappa, one for Devi, minimum. Of course, Parivara Devatas all are worshipped. So this one of the persons who had gone to him and benefited from his pujas came for that. And there, for breakfast, he is serving idlis. Two types of chutney. One is the traditional coconut chutney. The other chutney is made from onions. Yo, puja time, how can he serve it? He said, he's a tantric, what are you talking about? And when he does the puja, when he does the avahanam, you will find Devi's presence there. Any devata he invokes, you will find the presence, you can see the energy there. He is that good. Other carriers do avahanam comes and goes. Devi is there or not, we don't know. This guy does, you can sense it. But he's serving. Onion chutney for breakfast. Maybe because of that. Thora that rajas is necessary to invoke him. Hey, what I'm saying is, follow whatever culturally you are. Don't make an identity out of it. Follow what you are comfortable with. Follow what you are comfortable, that's perfectly fine. Don't make an identity as self-judgment. Your identity comes from something like food. Your culture can come from that, not your identity. Therefore, Brahmarpanam. What is offering? Whatever you are offering is Brahman. Havis is Brahman. Fire into which you are offering is Brahman. The one who is offering is Brahman. The result is also Brahman alone. All that is there is Brahman, nothing else. Brahma karma samadhinaha. For one whose mind is absorbed in this knowledge, all that is there is Brahman. Aur kuch hai hi nahi hai. This is where you are supposed to go. This is supposed to be the understanding at the end of the Gita. And this can be. What else is there in life? What else is there to understand? Then out of that freedom, we saw in the second chapter, no? You do live anything you want, whatever life you want, live. Want to continue as you are doing? Please continue. Want to go and become a Babaji? Go. Rishikesh, chalo. Whatever you want, what difference does it make? Yogaratova, Bhogaratova. Shankara writes in Bhajagovinda. Whether you are living a life of yoga or you are living a life of bhoga, enjoyment. Yogaratova, Bhogaratova. Sangaratova. One who is reveling in company, there are always 10 people around the guy. Sangha Vihina loner. Okay? Yogaratova, Bhogaratova. Sangaratova, Sangha Vihina. Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chittam. One whose mind is absorbed in Brahman. Nandati, Nandati, Nandati. He alone is truly joyful. He alone enjoys the moksha. What is known as moksha, he alone enjoys. That person alone enjoys. Well, that's true, no? It's not lifestyle dependent. It's not lifestyle dependent. It is knowledge dependent. Your lifestyle is meant to help you gain this knowledge. So we have a sadhana 24/7. That's called what? Karma Yoga. Ishwararpanam Prasada Buddhi. That is the sadhana. You can supplement it with little japa dhyanam, some meditation, etc. to get your mind. But if you are willing to accept everything, what is your conditioning? Where is your conditioning? Drop those conditionings. You know, in olden days in South, travelers will always look for Brahmana Bhojanalaya and they will avoid military hotels. Some of the South Indians are wondering how come I know all these. I have travelled a lot in Tamil Nadu. Even all over India I travelled with Swamiji. So we avoid. Why? Brahmana Bhojanalaya, I mean the food will be guaranteed vegetarian. Military hotels were advertised as military hotels because the first time many people ate non-veg food was when they joined the army. So they were called military hotels. Even now if you go to Egmore and all those areas, you will find some hotels, military hotels will be written. People will be surprised. I was a sailor. I was a vegetarian sailor. In Indian ships, you can do that. Abroad, forget it. They'll get a cabbage and put it in here in those days. I don't know how to cook it. Or they just boil it and give it to you. So, the whole idea is don't let these things condition. Understand that you are Brahman. Then continue whatever lifestyle you want. Whatever lifestyle. You want to be a sannyasi, be a sannyasi. If you want to be a simple person, as want to be a teacher, teach. It's not that all sannyasis are teachers. At the end of the course, one course, 94 batch or something, Swamiji has 2 of the students to get married to each other. Yeah. He suggested both of them. Get married. It will be good for both. And it's true. They are setting up an ashram together. Yeah. He runs a software company. And the profits from the software company is going to set up the ashram. Perfect. I said, you don't have to bother about fundraising like how I have to do. But then he has to run a company. Small one, but good. Lifestyle doesn't matter. What you know inside matters. What you know inside matters. So, what is the thing? The focus has to be always this knowledge, not the other things. Those are sides. Some of them may help you, some of them may block you. Anything that helps can also become a block if it becomes a conditioning. Prevent it from being a conditioning. So do whatever sadhana you need, whatever you need to make your mind free. Not by adding more rules, just enough rules so that your mind is focused and disciplined. Not more than that. Some discipline in day-to-day life is good. Whatever you take, worship, this, that, etc., some of it is good. Don't let it be a conditioning. And then that's it. Focus on the knowledge. The whole focus is on the knowledge. And I give enough immersive experience also, camps, etc., to immerse yourself in this knowledge. So that knowledge can really permeate you. So that after that you can say, yeah, I thought it will take a lifetime, but I am fine. Then, what about my remaining life? Live in joy and fulfillment. Live in joy and fulfillment. Yeah, enjoy your family, enjoy this thing. Yeah. Enjoy the whole thing. No, this verse wouldn't be exactly considered a Mahavakya because that Tattvamasi, like, pointing your that is not there. That is important. Yeah. Okay. Think it over. If there are any questions, next class we can see it. Okay, good place to stop. Om Tat Sat.
Yes.